Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here for Saturday, January 9th. We're getting today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. Unfortunately, we ended up picking up a loss in college basketball as we ended up having Michigan State minus the 4.5, which was available on Bet Online minus 110. Pretty brutal loss there. Michigan State at home, they're up 15. Purdue's been awful on the road all year long. And then second half comes around, and I don't really know what Michigan State was trying to do. Purdue realized to give the ball to Williams every single play. Michigan State made no adjustments. And Izzo just sat there yelling at players and didn't make any type of adjustments that were worth anything. So Michigan State ended up going from up 15 at the half to not only not covering, but also losing the game outright. Pretty brutal choke job there by the Spartans. But either way, picked up a loss there. I'm pretty unfortunate. We got a good number. It was at minus 4.5, ended up closing at minus 6. So happens, but either way, we'll look to bounce back here with the winner on Saturday. Quick reminder, though, we already have a look ahead play on the NFL on one of the games coming up later on today. So you can check out the video. The line hasn't moved too much, so that is still available. So keep that in mind. If you want an NFL play and you're looking for something on the NFL, I already did that about, I forgot what it was, 5 days ago or so. So just keep that in mind. Before the college basketball play, we both know, all of us here listening know that I'm a big fan of the obscure college basketball plays with some random leagues that you probably don't pay much attention to. And for that reason, we're going back to it. It's going to be a new league that we haven't talked about yet this year. It's going to be on the Patriot League. We're going to be looking at a matchup between Colgate and Boston. And for this matchup here, we're going to be taking Colgate minus 2. It's available on DraftKings minus 112. A time recording of 3:28 a.m. Eastern Time. A couple reasons why I like Colgate in this spot. First of all, there has been a lot of line movement already. Colgate opened up at minus 1. Now it's up to mostly 2.5. If you shop around, Bet Online is 2.5. Fox Bet is 2.5. FanDuel is 2.5. Yet DraftKings still has 2. So, of course, I'll take the free half point there with only 2 cents of juice. But a couple reasons why Colgate is the favorite in this spot. But first of all, I'll go through a little backstory on what's going on with both teams so far. Patriot League had a late start to the season. Both teams are 1-1 here. Colgate ended up beating Army, who was 15-15 last season. They brought back about 3 starters. Really not a great team at all. They beat them by 44 in the opener. And then they ended up playing again the following day in one of those classic college basketball back-to-backs that we've seen all the time this season. And they lost the back-to-back by 2. So you had a very interesting 46-point turnaround between Game 1 and Game 2. And meanwhile, you have Boston, who ended up playing against Holy Cross. Holy Cross last season, 3-29. Boston ended up winning the opener by 7 points on the road. Then they played at home against Holy Cross the next day, and they lost by 2 to Holy Cross. Now, both those situations are kind of similar because they ended up winning the opener, had the turnaround, might have felt a little bit full about themselves and ended up losing. But I think that's more of a case with Colgate because Colgate won by 44 in the opener. Same thing happened with, I believe it was Boise State against San Jose State a couple of days ago. They won the first game by 50-something and then ended up needing to win the game by 1 point in the following game. But Colgate overall has looked like the better team so far. Boston was the defending conference champions last year. However, Colgate has definitely been the class of the conference for the last couple of years. Colgate has a program record 49 wins in the last 2 years combined. They've been great. And Colgate, if you look at the numbers here in comparison to Boston, they've been the much better offensive team so far this season. It's not even including the one outlier where they scored 100-plus points in the opener. I'm talking about solely based on percentages with three-pointers and with free throw percentage. And I do think that will play a huge factor in this game. Colgate shooting 38.5% from the three-point line. They're also shooting 90.9% from the foul line. I don't care how many points you blow out a team by. You're shooting 90.9% at the line. I'm going to be betting on you a decent amount. Meanwhile, Boston's shooting about 7% worse from 3, shooting 31.8% from the three-point line. And in comparison to the 90.9 free throw percentage from Colgate, Boston's shooting 65.7. So they're about 25% worse from the foul line. So I think Colgate, simply put, they bring back a lot of pieces from last year's team. This Colgate team has been the class of the conference. Said before, they were the favorites in that conference title game last year before losing to Boston. So you also have a bit of a revenge angle there for Colgate if you want to talk about how they're going to be really bothered about losing in that conference title game. Just for reference here, the Patriot League was one of the only conferences that actually finished their conference tournament. So if you're wondering how conference tournaments got finished before COVID, there were a couple that actually got done, and the Patriot League was one of them. But Colgate, simply put, has the better offense, the better overall team. They're more efficient offensively. They're better from the three-point line, better from the foul line. And one thing that's also worth mentioning is the fact that Boston, even though they were able to beat Colgate in that title game that I said before, the tournament MVP, Max Mahoney, who was a huge player for that team, is no longer with the program. And since he is no longer there, team has kind of struggled in his absence. At least it seems that way on both sides of the ball. And I do think that Boston might take a little bit of time to get going since Mahoney was the heart and soul of that team, and he's no longer there. So I think Boston will end up turning into a solid team in the Patriot League once again. But as of right now, the class of the conference is Colgate. And for that reason, I think at -2, you're getting yourself a pretty solid deal. This one should probably continue to climb, close probably around 3.5. I just see a lot more Colgate money coming in. But once again, the play of the day here for Saturday, January 9th is going to be on Colgate -2. It's available on DraftKings -112. That's been Thomas Scott Selection. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.